What is the purpose of a welding helmet, and what features should one look for when selecting a helmet? A welding helmet is used to protect the welder's face and eyes from harmful radiation and flying debris produced during the welding process. When selecting a welding helmet, some important features to look for include adjustable shade levels, lens clarity and durability, comfortable fit, lightweight design, and proper ventilation. How is underwater welding performed, and what special precautions must be taken? Underwater welding is performed by using a specially designed welding electrode and shielding gas to create a weld underwater. Special precautions must be taken, such as ensuring proper electrical grounding to prevent electrical shock and using underwater welding equipment that is designed to withstand the high pressures and corrosive nature of underwater environments. What is the difference between a TIG welder and a MIG welder, and what applications are each best suited for? TIG, tungsten inert gas, welding uses a tungsten electrode to create a high-quality, precise weld, while MIG, metal inert gas, welding uses a wire feed and shielding gas to create a faster, but less precise, weld. TIG welding is best suited for thin materials or delicate work, while MIG welding is ideal for thicker materials or when speed is a priority. How do you determine the correct welding parameters, such as voltage and wire speed, for a specific welding application? The correct welding parameters for a specific application are determined by considering the type and thickness of the materials being welded, the type of electrode or wire being used, and the desired welding technique. A welding chart or table can be used to find the recommended parameters based on these factors. What is plasma cutting, and how is it different from traditional oxy-fuel cutting? Plasma cutting uses a high-temperature plasma arc to cut through metal, while traditional oxy-fuel cutting uses a mixture of oxygen and a fuel gas to create a flame for cutting. Plasma cutting is generally faster and more precise than oxy-fuel cutting, but may not be as effective for cutting thicker materials. What are some common welding defects, and how can they be prevented or repaired? Common welding defects include porosity, undercutting, and lack of fusion. These defects can be prevented by properly preparing the surfaces to be welded, selecting the appropriate welding technique and materials, and maintaining proper welding parameters. Defects that do occur can often be repaired by grinding out the affected area and rewelding. How does welding affect the mechanical properties of a material, such as strength and ductility? Welding can affect the mechanical properties of a material by introducing residual stresses, changing the microstructure of the material, and potentially weakening the material through the introduction of heat-affected zones. Proper welding techniques and materials can minimize these effects and ensure that the welded joint retains the desired mechanical properties. What is the purpose of welding certifications, and how are they obtained? Welding certifications are used to verify that a welder has the necessary knowledge and skill to perform specific welding applications. Certifications are typically obtained by completing a welding training program and passing a welding test that evaluates the welder's ability to perform specific types of welds. What is friction welding, and how is it different from other types of welding? Friction welding uses heat generated from friction to join two materials together without the use of additional filler material. It is different from other types of welding in that it can be used to join dissimilar materials and can create a high-strength bond with minimal distortion. What is the difference between fusion welding and solid-state welding? Fusion welding involves melting and fusing the base materials together, while solid-state welding involves joining the materials without melting them. Examples of fusion welding techniques include MIG, TIG, and stick welding, while solid-state welding techniques include friction welding, ultrasonic welding, and diffusion bonding. What is the purpose of a welding filler material? welding filler material is used to fill the gap between the two base materials being joined together. The filler material is melted along with the base materials, creating a strong bond between them. What is the difference between a weld and a brace? A weld is a permanent joint created by melting and fusing the base materials together, while a brace is a joint created by heating the base materials and then melting a filler material that joins the two pieces together. The filler material used in brazing has a lower melting point than the base materials being joined. What is the difference between MIG and TIG welding? MIG, metal inert gas, welding uses a wire feed and a shielding gas to create an arc between the wire and the base material being welded. TIG, tungsten inert gas, welding uses a tungsten electrode to create an arc between the electrode and the base material, and a filler rod is manually fed into the joint. MIG welding is faster and easier, but TIG welding is more precise and produces a cleaner weld. What is the difference between AC and DC welding? AC, alternating current, welding is used for welding aluminum, magnesium and other non-ferrous metals, while DC, direct current, welding is used for welding steel, stainless steel and other ferrous metals. AC welding produces a smoother arc, while DC welding is more stable. What is a welder's qualification test? A welder's qualification test is a test that determines whether a welder has the necessary skills to produce high-quality welds. The test typically involves welding a sample joint to a specific standard, and the weld is then inspected to ensure it meets the required criteria. What are some common welding defects? Common welding defects include porosity, which is caused by gas pockets in the weld, lack of fusion, which occurs when the base materials are not fully fused together, and cracks, which are caused by stress in the weld. Other defects include undercutting, which is a groove along the edge of the weld, and slag inclusions, which occur when slag is trapped in the weld. How can welding defects be prevented? Welding defects can be prevented by using the correct welding technique for the material being welded, ensuring that the base materials are clean and free of debris, and using the correct welding parameters. Welding should also be performed in a well-ventilated area to prevent exposure to harmful fumes, and welds should be inspected after they are completed to ensure they meet the required criteria. What safety precautions should be taken when welding? Welding produces heat, light, and harmful fumes, so it is important to wear protective clothing and a welding helmet to protect your eyes and skin from the arc. Welding should also be performed in a well-ventilated area, and a fire extinguisher should be nearby in case of a fire. It is also important to follow proper electrical safety procedures when working with welding equipment.